Добрый вечер.
Hi.
Здравствуйте, здравствуйте. Мы пока немножко ждем участников, которые к нам еще присоединятся, вернее, зрителей. Мгм. Just a quick question to all of you guys. While we're waiting for some other people, how is life? How is everything? Никита.
Yeah, the temperature is rising, so it's a bit harder to bear, but in the country it's it's better. It's better. But I haven't gone to lake yet. I
Oh, you
don't
have a
know.
lake? That's so
Yeah,
cool.
we've got one.
Nice.
It's pretty nice in the forest
Wonderful.
lake.
And Ola, what about you? Are you staying in your Moscow flat or dacha?
Hardly walk at home.
Mm.
We still walk at home, but many projects, so we walk hardly.
It's nice for a change after the lockdown, right? Okay, we have Vasily who joined us, but we cannot see him. Okay, yeah, nice. Finally.
Hello, Philly.
Vasily, please say something.
Hi.
Great. Can you do something about the lighting? Because we can only see your wonderful silhouette, but not you as a person. Could you turn the light on?
Yeah, I'm a ninja today.
Okay.
Like in some Russian program where you can't see the face of a speaking person.
Right. Great. Okay, I think we can begin. We have 25 participants so far. So if people are going to come, welcome. If not, let's start. But let me start with some words in Russian, just to welcome everyone and explain what we're doing today. So, добрый вечер, уважаемые коллеги, изучающие и практикующие английский язык. Наш сегодняшний урок представлен библиотекой иностранной литературы, Академией Рудомино, лингвистическим ресурсным центром Пирсон. Урок наш проводится при участии студентов действующей группы Upper Intermediate уже третьего потока. Обычно на уроках для того, чтобы у студентов было как можно больше разговорной практики, мы разбредаемся по сессионным залам, так называемым breakout rooms. Но сегодня мы работаем в режиме вебинара, соответственно, мы все находимся здесь в основной сессии. Те из вас, кто пришел по ссылке TimePad, вы можете принимать участие в режиме просмотра, также комментировать, задавать вопросы в чате, который вы видите перед собой. Урок наш продлится около 45-50 минут. После урока я непременно отвечу на все ваши вопросы, если таковые возникнут. Okay, so shall we get going? Let's go. Well, we have already had a chance to chat before the meeting, so let's get straight down to business. The goal of our lesson today is to revise and maybe learn some new ways of talking about films. Well, actually, not necessarily just films. It can be any forms of art, ranging from books to theater performances, etc. So a question to all of you, my dream team of students. During the lockdown, the isolation, did you watch movies or films more than you used to? Or about the same, or maybe less? Ladies first, let's start with Ola.
As for me, no changes. I prefer to read some books, so not to watch movies.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks. And Katya?
Of course, more before, especially TV series.
Did you binge watch anything, like from the beginning till the end, or did it?
Yes. For example, Downton Abbey or Game of Thrones.
Wonderful. Great. Nice English. Wonderful RP, received pronunciation accent. Okay, what about Nikita? How about you? Did you watch more or less?
No, nothing changed really. I mean, concerning movies and TV series, not much in TV series right now. It was more like video lectures.
Hmm.
It increased, yeah. But with movies, just several during the whole period.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and Anton?
Actually, I watched during the lockdown more TV shows, more than in normal life, and I had an opportunity to finish some unfinished TV series. So, and as Nikita, I watched a lot of YouTube lectures or some small videos.
Mm-hmm. And finally, Vasily. Hi, how about you? Did you watch more or less movies, films, series?
Just today I've made some kind of revision of how much time I spent on the different tasks, and you know that I see much less films than before the lockdown, and during the lockdown I even don't remember what I have seen except some TED Talks or maybe some different lectures. I've read 5 or 6 different books during the lockdown, and actually I don't know anything about media nowadays.
Wow, Vasily, you're my hero. I only managed to read 2 books and both were about methodology, not very exciting. Okay, so let's move on. Imagine you are going to spend 1 year in isolation. Any type. It can be some island, or maybe you're going to the space mission orbiting the Earth, but you are only allowed to take 1 film with you, just 1. What will it be? And a few words why. Yeah, I'd like to start. Nikita, maybe?
A hard choice, really. 1 year is too much for any film, I guess, in my case. But maybe, as we talked before, unfinished play of for mechanical piano can help me spend some time in the space on the island, because I don't know, it's about Russia. And it like any good movie, it's good to repeat watching and noticing some details. I don't know, thinking about it time after time, and going back to the film, like any good classical film. You can discover new things over and over.
Thanks a lot for sharing. Yeah, and Ekaterina, have you come up with anything?
Yes, I have one film that I have seen times. It's Intouchables, and in Russian it sounds like 1+1.
Mm-hmm.
Should I explain why?
Yeah, just a couple of words. Yeah, to keep going.
This is a remarkable story of friendship, and with sparkling humor and the main heroes.
I agree. It's an amazing movie. Absolutely. The acting is really cool. So it's one of those films that you can watch over and over again. Mm-hmm. Ola, what's your film?
Maybe some old film with Audrey Hepburn, for example. I'm not sure. So, Holiday in Rome or Roman Holiday.
Yeah, something like that. Mm-hmm.
It's very nice film with. You can see Roman. I forgot the word. Beauty place in Rome, and this romantic story of princess and the journalist.
Absolutely.
I've never seen these films with Audrey.
Oh, they're so pretty. They're mostly black and
Really?
white, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess. I'm going to watch this one, Roman Holidays, but never get to it. It's a long time. I hope I'll watch it.
Okay. Right, Antoine, what's your choice?
I would take a Polish criminal comedy Vabank from 1980s. It's my favorite film, both parts, Vabank and Vabank 2. I admire the sense of humor and atmosphere of Poland, pre-war Poland of 1930, and jazz music from this film. So
Yeah, it has
it's
great.
my favorite. Yeah, it's my
Yeah,
favorite
soundtrack
comedy.
is brilliant.
Yeah.
And Vasily, finally, what's your movie?
I was thinking about the movie and what the whole talk, I have no idea. Actually, I have no idea what film it should be. But I think in this case, in this way, it's the only one that I will watch it on repeat more and more. I think it should be something with a really great actor and really great hero in the film. Something about the person who grows from like maybe some kind of a child and he becomes grown up, not physically but mentally, and something to look like on a role model. So the movie, which will after watching, which you will think like, okay, I will stop doing what am I doing now, and I will be great. From this day, I will be more powerful and more wise.
Wow. All right. Yeah, sounds like a plan. And by the way, a question to those who are with us in the webinar. You're welcome to put your ideas in the chat. Yeah, the ideas of the movies that you would have taken, given the opportunity to orbit the Earth for 1 year, just one film. Okay. Thanks a lot for some brilliant ideas. We're going to look at Unit 10 today. You don't really need the books just now, because the first thing I wanted to do today was to revise some movie types, some movie genres. Yeah, so could you help me with that? We're going to use like a big sticky note here and put some ideas down the sticky note. So what's the genre of a movie? I don't know, for instance, the one that you see in the picture right here in the book with Keanu Reeves, I think. Let me move.
Speed, action movie.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So the first one is an action movie. Action or adventure, sometimes they're called. And the other one, the one with people dancing, what is that usually called?
Love story?
A love story?
I don't think so. It's
Romantic?
it's a drama, I guess. I mean, this particular film.
Oh, you mean the Groundhog Day?
Yeah, Groundhog Day. It's not romantic comedy or something. It's with elements of romance and comedy. But it's more of a serious drama, I guess.
True, true. But if your movie is totally devoted to some romantic stuff and it has some laughs, so what is it called? A romantic
comedy.
Funny. A rom-com.
Rom-com.
A rom-com, and there is another name for that. It's very informal. Some may even consider it a bit offensive, but still we can look at it. Chick flick. Which examples could you give about these movies? Like rom-com, chick flick, something funny, something mostly for girls to watch. Kate, maybe?
Thriller, or how it says?
Yeah, thriller is another genre, sure. Let's write it down. But what about rom-com? Do any movies come to mind?
Yeah, Vanilla Sky. Yeah.
Oh no, it's a drama for sure.
All
And a
films
hard
with
one.
young Reese Witherspoon, for example.
Which one?
No, Kate and Leo.
All films with young Reese Witherspoon.
Exactly.
For example.
Absolutely. And like
She's a star of rom-coms.
That's true.
Roman Holiday, it's not a rom-com?
Yeah, it is, I guess.
It is, but it's just kind of high quality. Yeah, it's pretty fancy, sophisticated rom-com. Okay, if you think about Sherlock, what genre is that?
Detective.
Story?
Anything else? Like maybe something less obvious?
Road movie?
Oh, about the island with this famous actor who won a really great award just a few months ago. No, something about prison, and it's a good detective. I'm trying to remember the name.
Well, most of them are dramas, but you can have a prison drama. You can have some other types. Yeah. Okay. Also, well, I guess a cartoon can be considered, yeah, a genre, a type of a film. What else?
Maybe a road movie?
A road movie. What do you mean by that?
I think about the movie like a Green Book, when characters drive somewhere, and the plot of films develops by this trip or traveling.
Yeah, agree. Okay, well, let's stop right here and take a look at some vocab. Some of the words you know for sure. And a little note to the audience, don't worry that you don't have the books. I will show everything on the screen, so it's not going to be a problem. I would like you to start with point C, actually. Ekaterina, could you please read points A through E, the first 5?
Fast pace, touching, gripping, gory, hysterical. Hysterical.
Right. Even if you're not sure what the word actually means, just as usual, we will try to match the words with some of the sentences, some of the definitions, and do it together and check, no problem. Nikita, could you please read the rest from F to J?
Creepy, controversial, full of suspense, outstanding, thought-provoking.
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 That's right. All right. So let's just do number 1 together. Yes, the first sentence in point B. Let's think which word or expression matches this phrase. Any ideas, Ekaterina?
The documentary really made me think and raised lots of questions. It was documentary. Controversial or thought-provoking?
Thought-provoking. It can absolutely be controversial as well. Actually, lots of words may match different phrases, but some match better than others, as usual. Yeah, so please take a look. Take, well, I don't know, 2 minutes probably, yeah, to complete the task.
Okay.
Yeah. So a quick note to our guests, if you are sure of some answers, feel free to type them in the chat box. I see there's a nice exchange here going on between Vasily and other people. Yeah, there's a great choice of a movie. Anna Leonenko is writing that she would take Adventures of Shurik. It's fun. I agree with you. Okay. So 1 more minute and we're gonna check. Okay, so let's go just one by one. I'm sure that together we will manage. So any ideas about the second statement? Nikita, maybe?
It could be fast-paced. I got lost sometimes. I had to pay attention and to keep up with. So
Absolutely.
that's my version.
I agree with your version. So it is fast-paced. Yeah, everyone? What about you, Nikita? Do you prefer fast-paced movies as opposed to slower ones?
Yeah, I got used to fast-paced movies as I watch contemporary movies. But during the lockdown, I tried Tarkovsky, so it was an exciting experience of slow-paced movies. It was interesting.
Slow cinema. Yeah, slow cinema.
Yeah, slow cinema. It was a good
Cool.
experience.
Great. Number 3. Any ideas, Ekaterina?
The relationship between the people was sensitively handled and almost made me cry. It was very deep, touching.
Touching. And a little pronunciation note. Yeah, the relationship between the two people was sensitively handled. Great. Yep. Good. Number 4, Ola.
Some scenes were scary and made my skin crawl. it was creepy.
Creepy, yeah, absolutely. There is another way of saying that something is creepy, something is scary, kind of like in Russian.
Maybe.
Excuse me?
Gory? No, oh, no.
No, gory is about blood, mostly.
Grippy maybe.
No, you're right. There is just one word here, creepy, but if you think of another phrase, like in Russian, we say мурашки по телу. Yeah, so there is an almost analogy, almost synonym in English. Anyone?
Goosebumps. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, this movie gave me goosebumps. Mm-hmm.
It was an answer in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank
from
you.
Nastya.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nastya. Helped us. Cool. Number 5.
Goosebumps. Oh.
Goose.
Yeah,
Vasily, maybe.
Like a goose skin, goose bumps.
Yeah.
Goosebumps,
I've never heard this. Okay, number 5.
Yeah, you're number 5. Mm-hmm.
It was no, I'm number 1. So I was on. I was on the edge of my seat and couldn't look away for a single moment. It was really full of suspense. I think it was really full of suspense.
That's one option, and there is another one. You can also say
gripping, maybe.
Gripping. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can we just say full of suspense, or maybe change suspense in another way to make it just one word? Suspense.
Suspenseful.
Full of suspense, or
Suspenseful.
Suspenseful. Yes.
Whoa.
Ola, thanks a lot. Suspenseful, I can also use that. And point 6. Antoine, maybe?
The acting and direction were exceptional. It'll win all the awards this year. It was absolutely outstanding.
A very familiar word, yeah. Straightforward. Mm-hmm. And 7, Katya?
I shouldn't be surprised if people start protests against this documentary. It's extremely controversial.
Controversial. Okay, we're doing great. So let me just show the answers here to speed up the process a little bit. You can check. Yeah, we only have 8 and 9 to go. Pretty obvious choices. And let's move on. The book suggests some words that we actually are very familiar with. Let's make sure that we do remember them. Yeah, and match them to some of the words in C. Some are really synonymous. Others are near synonyms. Well, for instance, what do you think about hilarious?
Very funny.
Hysterical.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So let me just draw it like this. Yep. And actually do the rest with the other words. We'll check them really quickly and move on. Okay, I see that most of you are done. So moving, what about it?
Fast-paced?
Fast-paced?
No. It's like touching.
moving, touching.
Exactly, yes. Such a moving story. Oh, it's such a touching story. And there's actually another word in this box in point D that relates to that with a strange pronunciation.
Poignant.
Poignant.
French. Yeah.
Poignant.
Poignant. Good job.
And it's what synonym? Touch?
Oh, they are all kind of together. Poignant, moving, and touching. They're pretty close to each other in meaning. Yeah, something that could you give me an example maybe of a scene from a movie or a film that is quite
The story of Romeo and Juliet is very poignant.
precisely. Thanks. So superb.
Okay, superb. Outstanding.
Outstanding. Yeah. And also from this very box.
My favorite word, stunning.
Exactly. Yeah. That's your word. Stunning, breathtaking. Yeah. We skipped offensive. My bad. Offensive is closely related to which word?
Gory?
Maybe controversial.
Controversial is better. Yeah.
Okay.
So when something is controversial, does it offend everybody or just part of society, part of the people? Anton, what ideas you have? When something is controversial, some people may agree with it, others don't.
I think that offends one part of people. It's controversial.
Well, yeah, to be offensive means that everybody is insulted. It's so bad that everyone is, feels bad. But controversial is kind of, some people are okay with it, others are not so much okay with it. Okay, so let's check. That's what the book suggests, just as we discussed. Yeah, offensive.
What dramatic?
Here we go.
Intense.
Full of suspense. Okay, let's move on. Sorry, the program is loading. So.
Outstanding.
For some reason it's not opening. Let me just stop sharing and start over again. That's interesting. Okay, maybe now it will work. Yes, here you go. So here is the same exercise, only I put it in the in our whiteboard. Apart from the words that we matched and discussed, there are also pretty interesting expressions. Yeah, like for example, in the first one, Ekaterina, could you read the first statement again?
That documentary really made me think and raised lots of questions. It was thought-provoking. Yes?
Yeah, or intriguing. So in other sentences, what phrases do you think are also good? Yeah, because we're always looking for treasure, for some interesting expressions. For instance, Oля, in number 2, is there anything that catches your attention? Yeah, Oля, could you read number 2?
I got lost sometimes. You had to pay attention to keep up with the plot and the action because it was so fast-paced.
So which other expression here do you think is interesting?
So, so intense? No.
I actually
Keep
thought that
up with the plot.
exactly. Yeah, that's my personal favorite. Here's it's pretty interesting. Yeah, you could use it when talking about some, fast-paced movies, something that happens really fast, and so on. Right. In number 3, Anton, what would you select as interesting, if at all?
Sensitively handled.
Exactly. Yeah, something that is sensitively handled,
or
not in a rude way.
Yeah, or made me cry. Maybe.
Made me cry. That's a good one. It's pretty simple, but still, yes, a nice phrase, nice collocation. Cool. What about number 4? Nikita?
Some scenes were scary and made my skin crawl. Yeah, made my skin crawl. It's a good phrase, I guess.
Yeah.
Gave me
I mean,
goosebumps.
yeah, we kind of discussed that, but there are millions of ways of expressing your ideas. Why not use them? Vasily, anything interesting catches your eye in number 5?
I was on the edge of my seat. I like this one. On the edge of my seat.
Absolutely agree. Yeah.
Like Dostoevsky before the Russian library in Moscow. He's sitting on the edge of his seat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's skip number 6. It's pretty straightforward. Any ideas about, I don't know. Well, everything else is pretty kind of, yeah, straightforward. Okay, let's move on. So we have the new vocab that we revised today, and our favorite kind of game. There are some questions to discuss. Because we're talking about films, I decided not to go with colors or with numbers as I usually do, but went with the names of directors. So please select a name and a question will appear. Let's start with Ekaterina.
A name? Okay, Lucas, for example.
Lucas, yeah, George Lucas. And here is your question.
How do you feel about gory scenes in films?
Scenes.
Scenes in films. How do you feel? I used to watch many gory films earlier when I was a student, but now I don't like. I don't know why. Maybe I'm afraid of blood.
Okay. Well, you could use some other words as well, apart from gory. You could also say gruesome. It's a kind of a synonym. Or brutal. Yeah. So, okay. Nikita, please choose a director.
Let's go with Hitchcock.
What about your lovely Tarkovsky, Nikita?
No, he's not my lovely. I'm just discovering him. I'm in the process.
Yeah.
It's a long process, I can tell. When was the last time you watched, read something gripping? I guess it was a Fool, a movie by Yuri Bykov. By Yuri Bykov, yes, a Russian young director. It was a really gripping film about Russian realities. It was poignant to some extent.
Right. Okay. Could you nominate someone else, the next student?
Vasily.
Of course.
Of course, Vasily. Of course. The only maybe Nikita. Sometimes I'd like to know. Maybe you know different names, not only Vasily.
He knows my name, Vasily. He knows my name.
Okay. Yes, Kate. And I'd like to choose. Okay, Nolan. No,
Okay, good choice. Great. Have you watched any movies by
something thought-provoking? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And fast-paced, actually, like Inception.
Oh, touching, poignant piece of art. Please give an example of touching, poignant piece of art. Oh my gosh. I'm not good in art.
No, I'm not good at art. Well, you don't have to be good at art. Just maybe think of some. It may be anything.
Okay, right. Will be very funny. Nikita told that he had seen a movie of Tarkovsky, and I think that there is a great piece of art. His movies. Actually, the movie Stalker. The name Stalker. Yeah, it's very touching because if you will not only watch the movie, but if you have some time to read something more about the plot of the movie, you'll find that the idea of the scenes and of the ends, how it all comes to end, it's unbelievable. It's really superb.
Superb. Music to my ears. Thank you so much, Vasily.
Stunning
for using all the new vocab. Right, so nominate someone next.
Okay, Oля.
Okay, thank you. Tarantino, maybe.
Here you go.
Blood.
What gives you
Tarantino.
goosebumps?
The questions are not related to the.
They don't have to be. We just have to use new words. That's it. Maybe some animals give you goosebumps.
Maybe sounds.
Yes, sometimes. But I don't know the words, good words in English when the on.
Like metal on glass, maybe you mean?
Metal on glass.
Yeah, disgusting.
I
agree with you. And
or
finally,
when teachers very angry, she is staring at you and trying to write on the desk. Sounds like
choke on the desk. Yeah.
Choke on the desk as well.
Tarantino movies sometimes give me goosebumps. Some scenes.
Do they make your skin crawl?
They disgust sometimes, I guess.
Okay, well, Tarkovsky is much better. Agree. So finally, Anton, choose.
Okay, I choose Coppola.
Come on, wake up.
What book do you... the interesting question. During the lockdown, I read the book of Yulia Latynina about Jesus. It was, so I think it really thought-provoking book. So. And style of Latynina is thought-provoking as well.
About those times, you mean?
Yeah.
New Testament times.
Yeah, but it's not fiction. It's like some historical investigation.
Oh, wow, interesting. Thanks for the recommendation. Right, and finally, we have like 5 minutes left. So perhaps you heard of this site. Anyone? Rotten Tomatoes?
No.
No.
I highly recommend it as a perfect source of vocabulary to talk about movies, films, and art in general. So the way it works is, for instance, there's a so-called tomato meter. The rating that was made by critics, by professionals. And there's also an audience score. Yeah, so just real people like you and me who give a movie a certain grade. Yeah, so let's do a little quiz, not very serious. Please keep your score, please keep your points yourself. If you guess the name of a movie from the description, you will get 1 point. And if you guess whether the audience score right here is higher or lower than the tomato meter by the critics, by the professionals, then you will also get 1 point. Let's do this one openly, yeah, together. So, Anton, why don't you read the description?
Inventive, thought-provoking, and funny, represents the arguable peak of many towering feats of cinema.
It might be a little tricky because it's about a rather old movie. It's obviously quite popular because it got 98% from the critics.
I have no idea.
Okay, I'll give you a little hint.
So how do you feel? Is it easier for you now?
Dolce Vita or
Close enough.
Кабирия
Okay.
знает?
Okay,
Should we
eight
go?
and a half. 8.5. I think it's one of the most famous movies by Fellini. Right, so how much do you think the audience scored? Is it higher, lower, maybe the same?
Lower, maybe.
Lower.
Okay. Right, let's move on. Ola, can you read the description?
Its many imitators and sequels have never come close to matching the thought thrills of the definitive holiday action classic.
It's definitely an action movie. And
what is thought?
Thrills, something very, very thrilling, something adventurous.
Not Hitchcock?
No, not really. I think, what's the name of this guy? Bruce Willis stars in it.
Die Hard?
Die Hard.
Okay, and what about the audience score? High, low?
Higher. Maybe.
A little. A little. Okay, one more. Nikita, could you please read?
Gives its infamous central character a chillingly plausible origin story that serves as a brilliant showcase for its star, and a dark evolution for comics-inspired cinema.
Not the little pronunciation point gives its infamous. How do you understand it? Famous, but in a good way or in a bad way?
Maybe in a bad way.
In a bad way, yeah, как одиозный, yeah.
Infamous, yeah, good word.
It's one of the latest movies, actually.
About Joker, I guess.
Or Batman.
Or maybe Watchers.
No, it's a Joker. Evolution for comics inspired cinema, because it became a drama. It was before it was like an action movie and a comic movie, nothing more.
Good job. Yeah, here you go. It's a Joker. And what about the score? The critics assessed it not very high, like 68%.
Audience much higher.
Yeah,
Like
higher,
how
I
much?
guess.
How many
Like
points?
90.
80 maybe.
Also,
70 something.
88. Yeah, cool. Okay, and I guess this is the last one. Ekaterina?
The on-screen battle between serves as a personal microcosm of the culture wars of the 1970s and testament of the director's vision, the film retains its power more than 3 decades later.
So it's 1970s.
Space War.
Star Wars, I don't know.
Not quite. Not quite, but a good one. With Jack Nicholson, you may remember.
This culture was beatniks against the government, oppressing government.
Quite controversial, isn't it? So, what's the score? Do you think it's higher or lower?
Lower.
No,
Lower.
it shouldn't be.
Oh, sorry.
Higher, maybe.
Yeah,
Yes.
2 points higher. Yeah, people
Cool.
were fans of it. All right, well, so we've had our 15 minutes of fun. Hopefully not only fun, but some useful stuff as well. I am going to make a Quizlet, as usual, for the stuff, the words we learned today. So, and by the way, for the guests of today's lesson, if you would like to receive a Quizlet as well, please let us know. You can write, use our email and let us know whether you want to get it as well. So, thank you so much for joining us today. If you guys need to go, you're free to go. If there are any questions, дальше по-русски скажу, если есть какие-то вопросы со стороны зрителей, участников, может быть, педагогов, коллег, пожалуйста, задавайте, мы пока здесь. Okay.
Все, заканчиваем?
Да, похоже на то. Всем спасибо большое. Да, тут очень активные были участники. All right.